certain behaviors and values which we all believe in very strongly from the bottom of our hearts. Following your passion, lifelong learning, thriving together, and staying hungry. You know, these behaviors are critical. And we continue to talk about it for individual success and for the organization success.
Milind, thank you so much for joining today. Everyone would want to know that in April 2020, last year, you rolled out and you were the first to call out 25 by 25 model. That TCS took a stand and everyone noticed. It was all over the news. Tell us, what was it? How did you go? How did you think about it? And how has it panned out? What are you thinking about it as of today?
Yeah, I think that was a vision which is actually set up even before pandemic for us in a way. We came out during pandemic, so it looked like it is a result of pandemic. Actually, we were into basically an agile mode of working and created a work culture of being able to work from anywhere, being able to deliver packets of deliverables from within with small teams working together and bringing it all together. So the entire enterprise agile by 2020 vision, which actually was there much many couple of years before the pandemic, was actually the accelerator for this for us. So all that those aspects of distributed way of working, distributed agile philosophy, were all actually fitting very well into this entire thing. And unfortunately this pandemic happened, and we said, okay, all right, we were anyway going to do this, and this pandemic will only accelerate this for us. So it also basically means change of mindsets of customers, change of mindsets for our teams, as a result of this crash course, so to say, through which came as a result of pandemic. And uh, and uh, you know the fact that we can reimagine this entire thing in a certain way which actually improves obviously the quality of life for our people, which is I think the significant aspect. And also being able to bring in that happiness, that productivity from a business perspective. All of those aspects were brought in. What we originally used to think about, workplace being where you come and work every day, and for any brainstorming, collaborative exercise, you go into off sites. It is exactly the opposite right now. Individual activities can happen at home. When you need to collaborate, when you need to socialize, when you need to come together as a team, when you need to do something fun, you basically come to work. And that is basically the birth of 25 by 25. And good that we have thought about this enterprise agile 2020 as a vision, a couple of years ago, which kind of folded into it automatically and helped us accelerate this change.
How in the last 18 months, how would you talk about efficiency, how would you talk about productivity, because that is a challenge, it is world over a challenge and people are figuring out. What have you figured out in your organization?
So let me take it in the response in two parts. One is basically our talent supply is significantly coming from the campus. Uh, that is one. And when I say that, Shraddha, uh, how have we reimagined this entire supply chain in the context of pandemic? Is something which is unique, and we're the kind of pioneers in that aspect. So we used to basically get people in, get them to Trivandrum. They spend 3 months and then they join us. Right? That's how it used to be earlier. Now it all happens when somebody is in the seventh semester in their institutes, and we actually have programs which are digitally connecting with them, getting them to, let's say, engaging with them basically purely from a standpoint of from a health and well-being standpoint, especially in the context of pandemic. getting them to make them feel that they are part of a larger Tata TCS family, and most importantly, get them to learn stuff which is important and required for them to be industry ready when they come and join TCS. So we have this programs now where we basically get them to learn, have some innovative ways of learning through hackathons, through uh, digital certifications, to having virtual discussion rooms for them to come and have their queries resolved. Those that engagement was actually very exciting, and getting people at home a swag bag, and telling, and which basically brands, TCS, make them feel part of that, and a phenomenal kit which aligns with what is required in today's pandemic situation, and also other fun stuff. you know so all of these things, most important of this all is basically calling people and saying, hey, how are you doing, we are going to join at this point in time, is your family okay, can we do something to help? Even somebody joining before, even before joining TCS, we were actually engaging with people like that. So that kind of created sense of belonging, and we now have people who are kind of 80% of the people are industry ready before they by the time they join TCS. So this is actually it's not, again, pandemic helped in many ways to accelerate this. And it's not only basically how to manage the situation in the pandemic, how do we leverage this situation to accelerate our productivity and learning process, so that we can get these people to be productive on day one when they come in. So it actually came up, worked very well for us. We already close to onboarding 40,000 trainees this year. We will actually hire a lot more. We actually may go and hire another few thousand, tens of thousands of trainees, because the demand is there and we have the mechanism to do that, right? So that is about the campus stuff. For the experienced hires, we actually have completely reimagined the hiring process. Entire thing is virtual. Virtual hiring, virtual, the sourcing, virtual recruitment, virtual onboarding, virtual project execution for them. We feel sometimes, frankly speaking, from a human angle standpoint, we feel bad that these people have not seen our facilities yet, and they are part of TCS for now almost 16, 18 months. We want them to come to office. We want them to see those wonderful offices we have, across pan India and obviously abroad as well. So that obviously is something which we want to do quickly, because that also brings in pride in people. But the fact is that virtualization of this entire thing, even the BGC process is virtualized. You basically, there are technology enablement to basically make all of these things happen. We are looking into newer aspects of entire interviewing process, entire sourcing process, leveraging technology. So I think technology definitely helped us significantly in this process, but also our teams came together and kind of reimagined this in a way which actually, we are at this point, Shradha, highest number of offers in a quarter ever, highest number of joiners in a quarter ever. Every quarter, I say ever, the number keeps going up, every quarter. So I think these things are working right now. Not to say that all of this is completely replacing that physical aspect of being there and having that handshake is important. Those things will continue. I'm not saying we'll just not have that at all, but in spite of this, really unprecedented 18 months, we could uh, get around this and still deliver value to our customer, is a sense of satisfaction in the leadership team.
Just want to get a sense, how do you look at employment, how do you look at job creation within TCS? What's your mind frame as a company, and what would you like to also tell young people, because I think some more than 3 lakh 4 lakh people applied, right, for the jobs that the 40,000 that they got, the 40,000 people got.
Very good question, Shraddha. I would actually put it this way. We all grew up in India wanting to get into institutes of eminence. Whether it's IITs, NITs, you know, other very big brands in state engineering colleges and all that. And not all of us get to do that. And some of us, not just because of our competency, because of various environmental parameters, coming from a very small city, did not get the opportunity, all of that stuff, right? uh, you know this uh, TCS is a place where, where obviously pedigree, is important everywhere, and we also basically value that, but we also value believe in fact that talent exists, good talent exists everywhere. There's a need for us to democratize that talent. A small town in Bihar, or a small town, in Kerala, or in Tamil Nadu, where people, bright kids are there, but they are not getting the opportunity, but they actually can come to an organization like TCS and not only get a career, but also fulfill their dreams of, that unfulfilled dreams of being, not being part of this eminent institutes for whatever reasons they could not do, and bridge that gap being part of TCS. First of all, joining TCS is a wonderful thing to happen, but even within TCS, I should have been, gotten an offer like this if I had been an NIT. There are opportunities within TCS for you to get to that level. If you have the competency, the attitude, the desire, the really, and hunger to do well, there are avenues in TCS for you to get there. So you have not missed the train yet. Okay. And you actually have ample opportunity for you to bridge that gap which you thought you had, because you didn't have the opportunity earlier. you know I think that is a wonderful thing to happen for our kids, right? All over India, and a sense of satisfaction, in many ways, for us to be able to do that. We also used to go, before this national qualifier test, we also used to go to only 300 and 350 colleges. Now we go to colleges across India, which is basically 2,500 colleges plus colleges we go, and people are appearing and qualifying, and some of them are qualifying for digital cadre, which is twice the compensation of a regular ninja cadre, right? So that is something which, very satisfying, Shraddha, that we are able to be being able to provide that kind of opportunity.
So you've democratized hiring in the
Absolutely,
country. Yeah, that is very powerful.
absolutely. And whoever basically has, there is a bar which is defined, and who doesn't matter where you're coming from, you cross the bar and you are in. And that is a powerful thing to happen, for our people, and with the kind of volumes we are able to hire, even more so, right? That So 40,000 trainees, good overall 80,000 people coming in every year. I think it makes a difference not only to the industry but to the country.
In a highly competitive society like our country, where everyone is looking to be relevant and aspires to get better, how does that translate into the company? How do you translate, because it's very tough to translate at scale? What do you do about this?
Yeah, first of all, let me just, a little longer response, so bear with me. There are certain behaviors and values which we all believe in very strongly from the bottom of our hearts. Following your passion, lifelong learning, thriving together, and staying hungry. You know, these behaviors are critical, and we continue to talk about it for individual success and for the organization success. Uh, having said that, lifelong learning is an important, not only important, it's a foundational element of the organization like us. When you say lifelong learning, there are technology changes. So many changes have happened over the last 3 decades. We have seen those changing, and our people actually have kept themselves relevant in that process. How does that happen, right? From mainframes to client servers to internet to social, all of these evolutions or revolutions have happened in this 3 decades. And the only way to be relevant is to have that value ingrained in you. I think that lifelong learning is critical. So how do we operationalize something like this, right? One way is to keep training and people in the next generation technologies whenever the customer asks for it, and thereby keeping it relevant. But we used to do that. I'm not saying we still do that. That is important. But what how if learning is strategic to you, then you should be learning. You should basically there should be a strategic talent development for people based on how the market is evolving, based on what are the technology trends, what are the industry trends, how this technology going to get leveraged in this industry. How is that contextual knowledge, which we have now over so many years, be leveraged to basically train our people in a certain technology, given the business context. You know, what is the leverage of IoT, in a automotive industry, or in a chemical plant, or in a banking situation, right? Knowing technology is important, but application of that technology in that industry, no, nobody can do it better than companies like us, who actually are day in and day out working with customers to do this. So, when you say that, and you have to teach people this, we actually have state of the art learning infrastructure in the organization, and we actually have processes and policies which align with that. So, for example, we have something called Elevate program, where we are basically saying you're linking learning with careers. Linking learning to careers is important, and it's a policy, and your job performance is important, but your learning performance is equally important. So your job performance and your learning performance together, if you're doing well in both of these aspects, you can be on a fast track career path. So at all levels in the organization, we have this Elevate program. I take a 2 minutes to explain to that, but it's important. When people joining in 0 to 3 years, they can come in, at a certain compensation, or a digital compensation is almost twice of that, right? So we actually say that, okay, associate, if you have not been able to crack that digital, you still have 3 more years to crack that, and we will enable you to crack that. And we they actually, while they are doing their jobs, they also learn, and this is a relatively high bar, but they people crack, and their competence gets doubled. That's, imagine somebody who is just joining us and getting to do that. Then when you come to spend a good 3 4 years in the organization, we want you to become specialists. We want you to be a security specialist, we want to be an IoT specialist, we want you to be an analytics and insights, we want you to be a pharma industry expert. And we have provided career and learning paths for each of those, saying that you take this future role, but for you to take that future role, you have to go through that learning path. And if you go there, if you do that learning path, and you obviously you have to do well in your job also, you get a jump on in your career and compensation, and then once you get deployed in that future role, you get another jump. So I think, to keep the organization excited about this entire learning thing, and the policies are created to align with that. And then when you grow to basically 10 plus years experience, we want people to be growth and transformation leaders for the company. These are people who basically help drive customer growth and transformation. So first, the junior most is more prescription based because they are junior people. We want to prescribe them few things. For the middle level, it's more subscription based. Which is okay. You follow your passion and select the area which you want to go and do it. And the third area is for the seniors, it's more selection based. So it goes through a certain assessment, and certain people get selected and they go through that and become the future growth and transformation leaders of the company. And then they get placed in the right roles, and then their career goes, where it should go. Uh, so this is the operationalization of the strategy, Shraddha, that how we are trying to do this. This is customer is critical in our business, but we are driving our own destiny, so to say, and obviously it's all aligned with customer needs, but we are driving it strategically, not based on what the customer is looking for. This is what the organization needs to go to, and obviously some of these needs will be required by the customer. All of these actually, and thereby we create value. We create more proactive value add in terms of providing those experts in significant numbers to our customers, and and thereby continue to create value for the customers and value for our people, and keeping the organization excited about this entire thing.
Have you seen a change in the aspirations of the workforce? Do you see, and the good, the bad, the ugly? What are some of the good things, and what are some of the things that we should be careful about in the workforce which is coming?
I think good things is basically, and this is something which I am learning from the next generation, frankly, Shraddha, is their ability to do multiple things at the same time. You know, they have this phone on the one side, talking to you on the other side, and doing some third thing on the other side. So that is something which is now ingrained, into the that generation, which I think we should look at it positively instead of trying to say, look at me when I'm talking to you, kind of situation. We have to respect that and say that, okay, this is how it is. And some of it actually leads to faster learning also, frankly speaking. Their lack of patience in sitting in a room for the entire day, instead of that, they want to learn quickly through a nano video and apply that learning, and then move on to the next. We have to figure out a way to align with them instead of trying to have them align with us. And we are actually, in our entire learning infrastructure, we have changed ourselves, to align with that. We are not asking them to do. So that is a good thing. That is a good thing, and we as an organization, as a leadership in TCS, we actually talk about it and saying that this is how the next generation is. And guys, we better align with this, rather than trying to change them to align with how we have been thinking for over the last so many years. And so that's a good part, and we are happy that our leadership also feels that way, and we are also changing as we go along. The not so good part, I will not say not so good part, but it's something, uh, being able to see the larger picture. What is that? Where you want to be in 3 years, 5 years. Uh, um, we were all, obviously all of us were always, money has been an important factor in lives, but uh, I see those sometimes those short term goals are taking over the longer term aspects of the individuals, which is, I actually should not be saying that they're right or wrong on this, because I don't know that, frankly speaking. But all said and done, I have seen life in a certain way, and I think that they should have that generation should actually look a little 3 years. And I'm not saying even 5 years, but don't say 1 year how it's going to be. What is the impact? I'm going to create. I think that aspect, they will, I think, will learn with time. And it comes with certain maturity, with at work, all of that basically eventually you understand, and sometimes you learn it yourself rather than trying to learn from others, uh, which takes time longer. So that is an aspect which we need to continue to tell this generation, and there may be a path in between somewhere.
TCS has done a remarkable, very outstanding, many things, but one thing which I want to call out is the diversity and inclusion. We talk about it, but you walk the talk. And in our country, as of today, we have 150 million missing women women who are not working. That's equal to the population of Japan, the whole country. And I was just so encouraged to see the numbers that you have as an organization and the focus that you have. I want you to talk about this because a lot of businesses, large businesses, organizations, startups, everyone converses, but as I said, you walk the talk. How have you made it happen? What do you do? What are some of the conscientious things that come into play to make this happen?
I have a slightly different view on this, uh, we actually have 36.2% women in the company. A lot of it has happened as a result of a lot of our young girl associates have chosen to take on this path of being in IT, and have done well in careers in their education, and then subsequently joined companies like TCS and others, right? So a lot of credit has to go to the country for us to be able to do that, first of all. And we happen to be at a place where we could absorb these women, and so I would not take a whole lot of credit for that, so the point is, uh, yes, after they join, what is that we do? What are our policies? What are our overall, diversity policy is one thing, but eventually the culture of the company to be able to drive this, and that is something which comes naturally to us, as a core value. Respect for an individual doesn't matter, what where the individual comes from, what gender, what ethnicity, right? So that it by itself, which brings in those some of those aspects automatically. Now, the question is how are we basically bringing some of these bright women up in the organization, and how does our senior management look like? Are there women in that, enough women in the organization? We have some, but we don't have. We believe we need to do a bigger job of that. Middle management we have. You know, juniors juniors we have many. Middle management we have. At the senior most levels, we still have a work to do and job to do, and we actually are working towards it very coherently as a leadership team. We decided that we will not push women candidates into senior leadership just for the sake of growth. But we decided that why can't we have more women client partners, more women on the field working with the customers, and having that. So we actually had made a conscious call of basically inducting and pushing and encouraging and having programs which enables women to get into these important role in the organization called client partners, which is basically it's a core role, which is extremely critical for the organization, and get them there, and then get them to move up, and come on to and come and become part of the team. So which is what is happening right now. So that is an effort which we have put in, and that is a conscious call. Not to say that we can't induct the women laterally into leadership team and all that. I'm not saying that we will not do that, but the strategy is this. You know, the strategy is to basically get them to challenging roles and then bring them up to speed. So I think to answer your question, a lot of 36.2% is a creation by a lot of contribution by the education system and by the country, overall, and we are able to absorb them, which is something which we could do because of the business we are in, and then bringing them up to a certain speed, and keeping having a right proportion of them at all levels is something we're working on as we go along.
As someone leading on the people front, how do you ensure that legacy, because you have a very big legacy to carry, how do you make sure that it gets translated into the organization, and more so now in the last 18 months when it's so hybrid?
There is no one answer to that, Shraddha, but uh, if you ask me personally, and then I'll obviously extend it to organization, walk the talk is so important. Say do ratio is so important. Being on the ground and being humble and responding to an unreasonable question is so important. You know, and you know we are all doing our job. We are all performing a role. There is a perceived or there is a real hierarchy, but how do you basically cross those hierarchies and barriers and demonstrate a human being talking to another human being, is so important. And some of those things have ingrained into us naturally. If you ask me how and why and all that, I may not be able to answer that, but it is there. Okay, it is there. That is how everybody behaves. That is how everyone. It is never about a designation or a role. It is about people first. It is about ensuring that you are part of organization. You have a question, you have a comment, you have a criticism. I will respond to that. Or I will figure out a way to basically respond to you in a way which satisfy you. If you are not satisfied, we can have another dialogue, and so that aspect is there in the organization, uh, and it is we have all grown up together, last 15 at least, me last 16 years working with this team. uh, this aspect, we all behave in a very similar way, and that comes naturally to us. And,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter whether it's a customer situation, whether it is a vendor situation, whether it is an employee, or whether it is a subcontract.
What's the number of people you're going to be hiring?
And
That's like the big headline.
you mean this year, or
Yeah, this year. This is a very bad year, tough year.
the number depends on the business situation, the lateral hiring number, but we definitely will have the highest number of trainees in tech. We will have a significant number of trainees coming in even now, you know, uh,
Wow.
and from the campus. So uh, and the lateral situation would be
Based on how, yeah, 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 yeah.
this is also the number is going up and up. But no, I cannot say how it's going to be in Q3 and Q4 and all that. So
Yeah,
I think, but overall, the hiring wise, will be very positive.
yeah.
Very positive. The job market is also hot. So there is while we have the industry best retention, but even 7-8% for us is a big number. You know, uh,
Yeah.
so for 500,000 people, 7-8% is 40,000 people.
Yeah.
So that's itself a big number. So um, there's a lot of work for the hiring team to do this year, and they are doing it.
What has kept you inspired and what has kept you excited amidst all journeys have challenges and pain, but what has kept you have to say, oh, these are the things that has kept me every day excited about what I'm doing.
Ultimately, what matters is the growth of the business. You know, so we used to call, means our CEO, now chairman, used to say that growth is the source of our energy, and when you say growth, it's not business growth for us, but it also means people growth, which comes along with it, and keeping people excited and creating a very positive environment every day, and having, excited to go to work and have some wonderful, dialogue with people, and is for any social person, it is a wonderful thing to happen, and then if you are doing it all in the context of this one bigger vision of, basically driving, benchmark growth for the industry and for the country. It is very exciting, being part of this journey. When I was I was in TCS, when it was less than 5,000 people. Today it is 500,000 people. So seeing all of that, it's an outcome of being together, being able to drive things, being able to take business decisions, helping people take business decisions, and in that process they feel good about this entire thing, and you feel good about them feeling good about it. All of it adds to it. Uh,
Yeah.
Then it's a kind of, in a way, a nasha, in a way.
Yeah. Milind, we will continue. Let's continue talking. This was very, very meaningful conversation. Thank you so much. Thank you for the
Thank you, Shradha. It was wonderful talking to you, and very insightful questions. So, made me think a lot, but it all came from the heart.